Welterweight fight between Gilbert Burns and Jack Della Maddalena. Guys, forgive me for not pronouncing it perfectly. My accent is not perfect here, but Maddalena, what a performance. I had Gilbert Burns winning. There was about a minute and a half left in the fight. Maddalena somersaults to an escape, gets up to his feet, lands a knee. For those of you who didn't see it, it was an incredible performance by Gilbert Burns. Maddalena was in it the whole time. He was coming back often, but getting taken down way too much. I think he got taken down 5 times. I lost count after 4 or 5. I was about 4 or 5 takedowns. And all of a sudden, he gets back to his feet, throws a knee, drops Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns, in my opinion, was ahead 2 rounds easily, winning round 3 as well. He was on top of Maddalena. Maddalena somersaults out. Hail Mary knee, throws a knee, catches Gilbert Burns shooting in. What a fight. Hope you had a blessed month. Do you think Gilbert made a mistake when he was trying to change his position? I believe it was that gave Jack the room to escape. That's from Munir Ahmed. You're 100% right. Gilbert had a one-on-one. He had trapped Maddalena's wrist, and he kind of jumped forward. He kind of jerked forward. He didn't have to do that. You know, when you're, training with Braulio Estima, one of the top black belts in history. Like he's Abu Dhabi world champion, a phenom. He used to tell me this, he used to talk a lot about concepts. He's a great trainer. He's a great teacher. For those of you who live in England, try to go and visit his academy. He's a phenomenal jiu-jitsu coach. Phenomenal athlete, phenomenal performer. Like he can compete in the highest, the highest stakes, the highest pressure, and he does incredible. But he's also a great teacher, and he used to teach us concepts all the time. He used to tell us, like, when you swing from one vine to the next, you never let go of the first vine until you get to the second vine. Make sure you have that second vine in your hand, and then you release the first vine. He goes, some grapplers, they swing from one vine, they release both hands to grab the second vine. They want to swing from one vine to the next. And he says, when I swing from one vine to the next, when I go from one position to the other, he's saying, I never let go of the first one until I make sure I have the second one in my hand, and then I'll release. It's kind of like climbing a ladder. You climb a ladder. Do you skip steps or you climb one step at a time? Gilbert kind of like rushed. He kind of like, if you watch that scramble, and it can happen to anybody, okay? But he kind of like wanted to jerk. He wanted to pull the arm out from underneath Maddalena and kind of drive forward. He had to be more methodical, more heavy, he had to move more slowly. He had to go from one grip to the other. Instead, he kind of jumped. He kind of exploded, but he didn't have to. He was on top. His weight was on top. And you're right. It gave Maddalena the momentum to roll out. Absolutely, 100% agree with you. And if not, it was about a minute and a half left. I mean, Gilbert would have just, broken back down to the mat, did a little ground and pound, would have won the fight. JDM won with a broken arm. What is his ceiling? That's from Fight Milk. Did he break his arm in the fight? I didn't hear that he broke his arm. He looked like he was fine to me. I didn't notice it, so it's possible he fractured his arm. It's possible it happens in fights, but listen, he did get taken down quite a bit. So there are guys out there in the welterweight division that will take him down repeatedly. I mean, could you imagine if he fought an Usman or a Khamzat? Goodness gracious, I mean, I think he really needs to up his wrestling, and he will. I'm sure he will. He'll go back to the drawing board. I have no doubt. The next fight, he'll be much more ready for that. Jack Della trains with Craig Jones. That's from Harrington Ripata. Yeah, he might, but he still has a lot of work to do. It doesn't mean because you train with the best guy, you might not have had it. He doesn't have the same level, years of experience as Gilbert. Gilbert's been doing jiu-jitsu longer and at a higher level. So, of course, training with Craig Jones is a good idea. It's just going to take time for him to develop the competence. It doesn't matter it does matter who you're training with, absolutely, but it still takes time. Even if you have the best coach in the world, it still takes time. The learning process, it's not done overnight.